Hello, I'm Chris, this is Dan, and on this show we're going to be talking about the must-see movies in February. We've picked 5 must-see films, and we're kicking off with Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, so some good, some bad, some we're not sure of yet.
Some we've seen, some we haven't.
Okay, so
this one we definitely haven't seen yet. They've not screened it for anyone.
No, and we're seeing it 2 days before it's out. Not always a bad sign, but sometimes it is.
But what might be a bad sign is that this film was supposed to come out almost a year ago.
A long time ago,
It was pushed back months and months and months, which is always a bit of a worry, but we can't prejudge the film. But it's the new one from the Wachowskis, so that makes us interested.
Yeah, so the Wachowskis obviously best known probably for the Matrix trilogy. The first one is probably one of the greatest action films of the last 20 years.
Yep.
But this one, from trailers, I'm really not that convinced, Chris.
No.
Is there anything I should be hopeful about it?
Well, these guys know how to world build, don't they?
Yeah,
in
but
sci-fi.
they're doing a lot of world building, I think, in this.
Yeah, and some weird stuff going on as well. I mean, the premise sounds a bit Star Wars-y to me. Shall I read you what I found? It's about Mila Kunis's character, who's called Jupiter Jones, and her genetic signature marks her as next in line for an extraordinary inheritance that could alter the balance of the cosmos. The force is strong in that one.
Big stuff, yeah.
So yeah, she plays an Earthling who gets transported to a foreign planet, galaxy, I don't really know, by this fella.
Channing Tatum's
character, who is
part wolf.
Part wolf.
Yeah, so he's like a genetic, like they kind of have animal genomes.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of world building, it's high concept. It's kind of that Star Wars thing where it's blending fantasy tropes with a kind of sci-fi covering, I think.
So we're saying Channing's basically a dog.
He's part wolf, I think. Part wolf, not dog, because that would be ridiculous.
No.
But what's not ridiculous is a rumour that I'm hearing that Sean Bean, who plays a character called Stinger, is part bumblebee.
Yeah. Yeah, you told me this. Now so we haven't had this confirmed, but we're hearing that it's a bumblebee.
He's a bumblebee. So yeah, that's all we've got for that one.
For that alone, I quite want to see the film.
Why is he part bumblebee?
I don't know. And obviously there's going to be some hype around this one because Eddie Redmayne is the hot favourite now to win the Best Actor Oscar. So.
Yeah, so he's the antagonist in the movie. He's kind of this spoilt, bratish space prince.
Yeah.
In the trailer, it looks like he's doing an awful lot of acting.
Looks a bit over the top, doesn't it?
Just a little bit.
I was getting Stargate vibes from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't know, but I'm telling you what, I'm intrigued enough that I really want to see it.
Yeah, it's a big sci-fi epic of this half of the year.
Yep. Next up, we have 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, one that Chris is looking forward to big time.
Star Wars aside, this may well be the most talked about movie of the year.
Yeah.
Based on E.L. James' novel.
Okay.
About sex and bondage and that kind of thing.
One that everyone's always reading on the tube.
Yep. Have you read it?
I haven't read it, no.
I haven't read it.
I know I know the basic premise, but how is this going to translate to the big screen? Like, how much can they push it? Like, obviously, the big selling point of the book is like how salacious it is, and obviously it's hooked people.
Yeah,
but how is that translated?
Well, it's certainly
to
going to be 18 rated, as far as I know, or R rated in the States, but maybe not NC-17. So it won't go that far, I guess. Okay. It's interesting that they've got quite a serious director on board, Sam Taylor Wood, who did Nowhere Boy, who's an artist turned director, but just when I was writing about this film, like I can't take it seriously because he's Christian Grey, she's called Anastasia Steele. Even when I if I want to say it out loud, I can't help but smile. It seems ridiculous.
But are those just kind of indicators of where this is being pitched? It's kind of modern day Mills and Boon, like a slicker, sexier Mills and Boon. You know, it's tapping into fantasies, and those kind of names allude to that kind of origin, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm sure you, like me, know lots of people who are planning to see it. Mainly girls. I don't know if I'm being sexist here, but it mainly seems to be.
I think it's always safe to assume you're always being sexist.
It's being marketed at women. I think there's going to be big groups of girls going to see it. So if we want to be part of the conversation, us boys, we're going to have to check it out, I think. Okay,
and who's the main guy? Because it was going to be Charlie Hunnam at one point, and he dropped out.
He dropped out to scheduling conflicts, but I don't know how true that was. But yeah, Dakota Johnson's the girl, and Jamie Dornan's the guy, who we know from The Fall.
Yeah, he's really good in The Fall. He's super intense in The Fall. Like he's a serial killer who hates women. And he's really messed up neuroses.
Well, everything I know about this role suggests it's a super intense role as well. Okay. So
hopefully he doesn't suffer from performance anxiety in the movie.
Weird. We're going to stay on sex for our third film.
It's just a monthly sex show.
It's not our fault. It's what's in the cinemas.
Okay,
and we're going to go with It Follows.
Okay, yeah.
Now we're ahead of the curve on this one because both Dan and I have seen it. We've got a review on the site, and we're big fans. It's safe to say. We like our horror anyway. This is top grade horror.
Yeah. So the elevator pitch for it is a little bit hokey when you say it, that there's a sexually transmitted ghost.
I think that's something I made up, and now I'm being taken the mick out of for saying that.
But that's essentially what it is.
You think? Yeah.
There's this kind of, something plagues these people relentlessly. This like this spectre, this phantom that goes after them, and you pass it on to the next person by sleeping with them.
Yeah.
But I don't think that does it justice, because I knew that concept going in, and I was expecting something probably a little bit light-hearted than what it actually is. I think it's actually a really well-made, stylish, very slick horror movie that taps into a lot of kind of older stuff, Halloween, John Carpenter stuff. I think it's really well directed.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be kind of funny or salacious or ridiculous, but actually it's taken very seriously. Yeah. It's kind of like a really interesting spin on the slasher movie, and it's the tone of the film that I think really gets you and draws you in. It's very slow moving, but you can't look away from it.
Because I think one of my favourite moments in all of horror is Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode being stalked by Michael Myers, and it's because he has this like inhuman patience that he'll just walk and follow you, and that's kind of the element, the kernel of horror this film is entirely based around. It's just something relentlessly coming after you. Wherever you are, they say at one point, it's always walking towards you, which is a terrifying concept.
Yeah, it really is. And the girl in it's great, Maika Monroe, who was in The Guest last year, which we really enjoyed. She could be a real kind of screen queen for the future. Yeah, do you not think?
Also, great synth soundtrack. I thought it was brilliant, so good, really stylishly directed, some of the camera movements. But I think she's the best thing in it, you say.
Muted colour palette as well, like that. All right, let's move on to our fourth film, which is Focus.
Okay.
Make or break time for Will Smith, I guess. Is he still a movie star?
I don't know. I can't even remember the last time I was excited for a Will Smith movie.
Yeah.
Because we've had After Earth, which is, I haven't seen, I was never excited for. So this seems...
Well, After Earth put him in a chair and made him grumpy. And you want to see... he didn't really move. He had an accident. You want to see Will Smith being charming and...
This seems like a Will Smith role.
Charismatic, yeah. So he plays a con man who takes this beautiful young woman under his wing and teaches her the trade, the tricks of the trade. And then he starts falling for her, and I think he realises this is wrong, so he just drops her. And then 3.5 years later, he's on a con in Buenos Aires, and he runs into her again, and by now she's become like a femme fatale. She's
one of the best in the world.
She knows exactly what she's doing, and so it's who's playing who.
So is this not going to be a big episode of The Real Hustle?
I've never watched The Real Hustle, so I can't tell.
But is it kind of like a heist movie? Is it all structured around one big kind of con, I think, from the trailer?
I think it is, where the stakes are very high in Buenos Aires. It's less comedic than I think you would think when you hear that setup. I think it's much more of a drama with some romance thrown in. Yeah. And obviously Margot Robbie is going to be in the Suicide Squad, so it'd be interesting to see how her career progresses, because she really burst on the scene with Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. As will Will Smith, of course. They're both in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see them on camera if you're more interested in that movie. Just, maybe a little interplay between the two.
Yeah. And, Will Smith's films can be massive. It just seems to have been a while since he was the biggest star in the world, so... Finally, we got one from out of left field a little bit.
Yeah, because we had another film originally, and you came in and scrapped it because you saw this trailer.
I saw the trailer. I heard about this film. It played at Cannes. It won in certain regard, it won the Palm Dog Award, which is for the best dog in a movie in Cannes. And there's a reason for that, because it's called White God and it's about dogs. And shall I read you the premise straight from Wikipedia? The film follows the mixed-breed dog Hagen, who moves, along with his guardian Lily, in with Lily's father. Unwilling to pay a harsh mongrel fine imposed by the government, Lily's father abandons him. Determined to find Lily again, Hagen soon attracts a large pack of half-breed followers who start a seemingly organised uprising against their human oppressors. That sounds amazing.
So I think you quite cannily summarised it as a mix between which two movies?
The Birds and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I think that does summarise it quite well.
But with dogs.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And it feels like, you watch the trailer, the first half of the trailer isn't particularly exciting.
Well, it looks quite like just a European arty movie of like a kind of alienated child who finds comfort in her dog.
It's a Hungarian film, and then suddenly...
It flips.
Yeah, the dog's on his own, making friends with other dogs, and then they're off.
Yeah,
they're off
great
to the
dog
races.
acting on mass here, and on CGI it seems like proper performances.
Yeah.
Dogs.
And I certainly have friends who saw the film at Cannes and loved it. Thought it was the best film they saw over that fortnight. So I don't know. I don't really know. Hadn't heard much about this until I checked out the trailer, but I'm all over this one.
It's in diary now.
Yeah. All right. So those are our must-see movies for February. Let us know which ones you're looking forward to in the comments below, and keep it right here on IGN for all your celluloid needs.